There is a moment right before everything changes, when you are completely invisible, and you don't know it yet. You are 21. You're at a bar that costs more than your rent, wearing a shirt you ironed twice. You buy a woman a drink. She says thank you without looking at you, takes the glass, and carries it across the room to a man who has been watching the door the entire time, waiting for exactly this. You watch $11 walk away in someone else's hand. You tell yourself this is about the drink. It isn't. You just paid for information, and the information is this. You do not register. Not rejected. Rejection requires being seen first. You were never on the list to begin with. You don't know it yet, but you are about to spend the next 20 years trying to get back into that room. And the wild part, the part nobody tells you, is that the room keeps changing the price of admission every single time you think you've paid it. This is the story of 8 numbers, and what each one revealed about the people standing next to you. Level 1, net worth. Your first real job is selling phone contracts on commission. Your first customer is a woman returning a phone her boyfriend bought her, asking if the refund lands in her account or his. You watch her do the math in real time. Not about the phone, about the relationship. You realize, standing behind that counter, that you've just witnessed something most people never get to see. A woman recalculating the value of a man, live, in front of you, like checking a stock price. You go on a first date that week. Coffee. She suggests dinner instead. You check your bank balance under the table, $211. You order the cheapest thing on the menu and pretend it's what you wanted, because doing visible math in front of a woman costs more than the meal ever could. 3 months later, she introduces you to her friends as my friend. You're holding 2 drinks. My friend, that night you do something you'll keep doing for the next 2 decades. You run the numbers. $340 a month. That's the price of friend when you're the one paying and she's the one naming the relationship. This is your introduction to a concept psychologists call social exchange theory. The idea that every relationship, even the ones that feel like magic, runs on an invisible ledger of costs and benefits. You don't know the term yet, you just know the feeling, and the feeling is correct. Level 2, net worth, $25,000. You finish a coding boot camp. A real company offers you a junior developer role. You tell her about it before you tell anyone else. She doesn't ask what the job is. She asks what it pays. The question lands exactly like the $11 drink did. Same direction, same weight, just wearing a nicer outfit. You're starting to notice something. The question never goes away. Only the vocabulary around it gets more polite. On a date that week, you mention your job title for the first time. Her posture shifts. She leans in 2 inches, uncrosses her arms. You clock it the way a trader clocks a tick on a chart. 2 inches. You've just witnessed the halo effect in real time. One piece of positive information, a job title, silently upgrading every other thing about you in someone's mind in under 3 seconds without either of you saying a word. Your ex from the My Friend era texts you 72 hours after you post a photo with your new car. Hey stranger egg, 72 hours, not 73, not the next morning, that would look too obvious. 72 hours is the exact gap required to seem spontaneous while still being timed. You don't reply, not out of anger, out of recognition. You've just been handed your first piece of real data, and data doesn't require a response. Level 3. Net worth $100,000. A colleague invites you to lunch the week after your promotion goes up on Slack. Monday, the announcement. Thursday, the invite. 3 days. The same interval, almost to the hour, as the "Hey stranger" text. You start to understand that you're not imagining a pattern, you're witnessing a mechanism. It doesn't require you to participate. It runs whether you notice it or not, the way weather doesn't require an audience. On a dinner date, you reach for your wallet. She lets you pay. No protest, no performance of reluctance. Just a comfortable silence where the reaching used to be. For a second, this feels like an upgrade. Then you realize what actually happened. You didn't pay for dinner. You paid for the absence of her discomfort. That's the product. You're the vendor. Both things are true at once, and the second one is the one that keeps you up that night. At a mutual friend's party, you run into the woman from the bar. The one with the $11 drink all those years ago. She looks at you a half second longer than she used to. Not recognition exactly. The absence of the blankness. She's placing you now. She didn't place you then. The glass hasn't come back yet. But for the first time, it's stopped moving away. Level 4 net worth. $500. Your realtor calls you an excellent candidate. That night, your date calls you ambitious. 2 women, 2 different rooms, the same word, 12 hours apart. Ambitious is a compliment that never travels alone. It always comes with an invoice attached. You just can't read the line items yet. Out of curiosity, you update your dating profile. Same photos, same face, same slightly too long story in the bio. You just change one line. Your job title matches increase by 340%. You read the number twice. Your face didn't change. Your sense of humor didn't change. 6 words on a screen changed, and the entire incoming tide changed with it. You don't show anyone the screenshot. It's not proof for them. It's proof for the version of you, back at the bar, who still thought it was about the drink. At a dinner party, your girlfriend introduces you to her friends. This is Marcus. He's the head of product at Renlo. Job title before first name. You've been filed. This is anchoring bias doing its quiet work. The first piece of information someone receives about you becomes the lens for everything that follows. You used to be a person who happened to have a job. Now you're a job that happens to have a face. A woman at a networking event slides you her number, unprompted. This has never happened in the entire history of your face. For about 10 seconds, you feel something close to handsome. Then you replay the conversation. She asked about your company, your role, and your equity structure, in that order, before she asked your first name. The number on the napkin isn't for you, it's for what you represent. The napkin doesn't know the difference. You're starting to. Level 5, net worth $1,000. The acquisition offer comes in on a Tuesday. By Friday, your girlfriend's best friend, a lawyer, calls just to check in, gently, casually. The way someone delivers a line they've delivered before, at other dinners, for other men, at other numbers. You sit across from a woman you've been sleeping next to for 2 years, listening to her discuss your cap table like she's reading a menu she's seen at other restaurants. The deal hasn't even closed. The relationship already has terms. Your mother calls that Sunday and asks when you're going to find someone nice. You sit with that word for longer than you mean to. At 0, nice meant kind. At $25,000, it meant patient. At $100,000, it meant interested. At $1 million, it means verifiable. You can afford anything now except the one thing that used to be free, certainty. A woman you slept with once, 8 months ago, texts you from a number you don't recognize. Congrats on the exit. So proud of you now. You never gave her this number. You never gave her the old one either. You're starting to understand that information about you now moves the way water moves, toward the lowest point, without needing to be carried. Gravity isn't personal. It's structural. Level 6, net worth, $10,000. At industry events, women approach you now, not randomly, in sequence. One makes eye contact across the room. 4 minutes later, another finds a reason to stand near you. 4 minutes after that, a third mentions a mutual friend. You start timing it. 4 minutes every time. You don't know if it's trained, instinctive, or a coincidence repeating itself into a pattern, and honestly, by this point, it doesn't matter which. The effect is identical either way. You date a woman with her own money. Real money, not doing well, but independent. For the first time in years, you exhale. Surely this is the version where the spreadsheet doesn't apply. Then, introducing you to her friends, she says, "This is my portfolio," and catches herself, laughing. "Sorry, my partner." The slip lasted half a second. You'll remember it for a year. Even matched wealth doesn't dissolve the appraisal. It just upgrades the software. The spreadsheet doesn't disappear when both people have one. It just starts comparing notes. That night, alone, in a house you own outright, you can't sleep. Not because anything is wrong. Because for the first time, you have proof that the thing following you isn't about lacking money. It never was. It's about being legible. About being a number that can be read from across a room. Level 7, net worth. $100,000. Before your next relationship starts, your lawyer sends over an NDA. She signs it without hesitation, without comment. You ask if it bothers her. It's normal at this level, she says. You repeat that sentence in your head for the rest of the night. A legal document that exists before the first date is now normal. A signature that converts intimacy into a framework before either of you has said, I like you is normal. You wonder what the word normal meant before the number got this big. You can't remember. That itself might be the answer. Your 8-year-old niece asks your sister at dinner, why does uncle always bring a different lady? Your sister laughs. You don't. You don't have a response that fits inside an 8-year-old's vocabulary, and the worst part is that her vocabulary is the most accurate one anyone has used all year. A woman pursues you at a gala. Objectively, almost unfairly beautiful. You know exactly what's happening. You go along with it anyway, because understanding the mechanism doesn't switch it off. It just removes the last excuse for not noticing. You are desired and unseen in the same transaction, like an asset that gets acquired without ever being examined. Level 8 Neth, Nil 1, Nizens. At a private dinner, a woman sits beside you already knowing your net worth, your foundation's focus areas, your last 3 relationships, and your mother's maiden name. She learned all of this before the appetizer arrived. You know nothing about her except that she chose this seat, and that choosing required research. The information is no longer asymmetric. It's total. Around this time, you do something you've never done before. You count 2 assistants, a PR director, a wellness consultant, an event manager, a philanthropy advisor, 6 women, all warm, all genuine, all on payroll. You try to remember the last woman who entered your life with no professional reason attached. You go back 3 years. You find nothing. You are surrounded by people. You are completely alone. Both of those sentences are true at the same time, and $1 billion didn't resolve the contradiction. It just made the room bigger so the silence had more space to live in. The return years later, you get a 1-line message from someone you haven't spoken to since that bar, back at 0. I owe you an apology for something you probably don't remember. You remember everything. The glass, the $11. Standing there at 21, holding the space where a drink used to be. You write back, I remember. You meet for dinner. No assistant booked it. No NDA waiting in a drawer. She orders 2 drinks and slides one across the table to you. The same gesture, 20 years later, in the opposite direction. You take it. And for the first time since that night, you feel something that doesn't show up on any balance sheet. The specific quiet weight of being seen by someone who knew the original version of you and came back for that one. Here's the part nobody tells you about money. It doesn't change what people see. It just makes the lens more powerful, strong enough to magnify whatever was always going to be there. The question isn't, what would you do with $100 million? The real question is, who's still standing next to you once the only thing left to see is you? If you've ever felt someone's interest shift the moment they learned what you do, or how much you make, or what car you drive, you already know exactly what this video is about. Drop a comment with the number, the moment in your life when you felt the lens change. I read everyone.